Welcome, everybody.
Welcome back to Mile High Podcast, episode 90. We've hit the 90 mark.
I know. I can't believe we've almost done 100 episodes.
What are we going to do for our 100th episode? Someone was asking.
We got to go big. Do something
Don't
really
promise
good.
them something too good.
Yeah.
Maybe like a really requested topic. I mean, don't get too excited. We can't like promise the world here, but.
Yeah. And hopefully by the 100th, we'll be in our studio. So maybe we can do something cool.
Let's hope. 10 episodes from now, we better be.
Yeah, we better be.
We better be.
That's like 10 weeks from now.
But today, everyone, we are doing a ponder sesh.
We are.
It is
Keeping it
kind
very
of
chill
a
today.
mixed bag of everything. If you've not heard one before, it's just kind of like talking about a wide variety of smaller topics that we can't make into full podcasts and kind of sharing with each other. We each brought a few to the table.
Yeah, it's kind of fun to just come here and enlighten each other about different random things and
it is fun.
Interesting stories. I'm sure you guys will find interesting as well.
Mm-hmm.
But we also wanted to talk real quick that our merch dropped. Kendall's actually, if you're watching on YouTube, she's wearing one of the new hoodies. We have a new and improved merch shop, milehigher.com.
This is the Mountain Crest hoodie.
Yeah, it's really cool. Lots of new stuff on there. There's going to be more stuff added here soon. And quantities are limited. So if you want something, go get that shit because it's limited. Yeah, exactly. And then also want to thank our sponsors for today's episode, Snow, Ritual, Stamps.com, and Upstart. Thank you guys for sponsoring the show. But let's just go ahead and jump right into this week's news topics. The first story, I actually hadn't really heard a lot until I started actually looking around online for stories. And apparently, the Keystone Pipeline leaked 383,000 gallons of crude oil in North Dakota. And it seems like really nobody's giving a shit. As far as like lots of mainstream coverage and things like that. Cause like what the hell, this is really bad because I mean, oil spills are really nasty and really affect the environment and animals and water, and the people that live where these spills happen.
So there hasn't been any major news network coverage.
No, I mean, the mainstream media is starting to put out articles online, but I really haven't seen anything on TV or anything like that much.
And really scary. Of course, they don't want to report that though.
Right. Well, yeah, the energy companies don't want that to get out, especially since they're trying to extend the Keystone Pipeline, right?
Right.
The Keystone XL expansion, which was all those protests and all the Native American reservations up there that's going to go across. And this is exactly what they're afraid of. They're afraid of leakages like this, where you would think for these energy companies, for as much money and profits as they generate, that they would have some better way to monitor their pipeline. Yeah,
make sure things go right.
Like, why aren't they like flying a drone up and down the pipeline like all day, making sure that there's not leakages?
I mean, it really makes no sense.
Because 383,000 gallons is quite a bit of oil to just like,
quite a bit. Yeah.
You just noticed that the pressure, they said like the pressure, like they get a pressure drop in the gauges. They have ways to monitor it to some extent.
Right.
So they knew and they said, we shut it down, blah, blah, blah. But the damage is already done.
Yeah.
This is a wetland area and it's about half an acre just filled with toxic sludge everywhere.
Oh, gosh.
And oil's just like such a pain to clean up. You really can't clean it up that well.
Right. Especially with that much of it.
Yeah, exactly. And it seeps down into the ground and into the soil and, potentially into groundwater that ends up in people's homes. So
so of course they don't want to really report on this.
Yeah, exactly.
Turns out the people were right.
Exactly. And I mean, I don't know. I just like don't understand why we're still investing in crude oil and this pipeline when clearly we need to switch off of fossil fuels if we want our planet to survive and for us to survive. Like, why are we still even bothering with this? Like, it just seems like such a pain. Like, I read another article, like we can generate enough wind power to completely take us off of everything. Like, you can do offshore wind farms and things like that. It's so weird. I mean, we know what it is. It comes back to the control that these oil companies have and energy companies have, and they don't want this to go away. So they're willing to put us all at risk in the name of oil. So
it's disgusting.
But this next story is really interesting. Kind of confirms all of our suspicions, but a forensic pathologist, a private pathologist, I should say, Dr. Michael Baden, essentially was there during Jeffrey Epstein's autopsy and observed it. And he's now speaking out. And this guy's a well-known pathologist, actually. He was involved in high-profile cases such as the O.J. Simpson trial. the police murder of Michael Brown in Ferguson. And he was actually hired by Epstein's brother to observe the autopsy because clearly they don't, even his brother's suspicious about what had happened to him. He didn't believe that this was a suicide.
No, I mean, it's so clear. It's not that, out of the box to think this was not a suicide. I mean, it's pretty obvious.
It's almost blatantly obvious that it wasn't a suicide. Yeah, so he hired this guy, Michael Baden, and he was just recently interviewed on Fox and Friends, actually. So during the interview that he did with the Fox and Friends, they asked him straight up, are you saying you don't think it was a suicide? And he replied, I think that the evidence points toward homicide rather than suicide, going on to reiterate that the fractures in the hyoid bone are very unusual for suicide and more indicative of strangulation.
Interesting.
Yeah. So how at first they're like, oh yeah, that's like typical with suicide, but it's actually seems like it's more typical in a strangulation.
Homicide.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's a different type of pressure.
Yeah.
Someone's hands versus a rope. Or something.
And again, the
like
whole official story of him jumping off the bunk or hanging from the bunk, just hanging himself on his knees.
I just can't
makes no
see
sense.
it happening.
It doesn't make any sense at all.
It's just so sketchy.
It really is. I don't know even how they came to that conclusion. So when they first found Epstein, they kind of rushed to conclusion that he had committed suicide. But in fact, at the time of the autopsy, the doctor doing the autopsy didn't think there was enough information to say suicide. So she put it pending further study. But now the family wants to know why it was changed from pending to further study to suicide. Why they just changed that ruling so easily like that.
Because there's people behind the scenes pulling the strings, making things happen.
Something weird's going on. But then they also asked the pathologist, did he have any signs of trying to fight back? And Baden explained that he looked at the fingernail clippings to see if there was anybody else's DNA on it, but he hasn't released the result of that yet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Neither about the information, the DNA on the ligature actually hasn't been released as well, which was what he used to hang himself, essentially.
Wow.
So whoever made it or put it on him should have some DNA on it.
Mm-hmm.
But he just says, we don't know yet. It hasn't been completely examined yet. So that'll be pretty telling if they can.
Yeah, definitely.
If it's even there anymore. I mean, as we know, a lot of times these types of items just disappear. It's just crazy, all the sketchiness though surrounding his death.
It really
the fact
is.
that 2 prison guards fell asleep, what are the chances of that?
I know. And it feels like the general public feels like something weird happened, It doesn't seem like it's just the conspiracy people. Most people are like, okay, this looks very strange.
Yeah. I think the mass majority of the population thinks that he was murdered.
Yeah, I do
and that this wasn't a suicide.
Seems pretty obvious. And plus it makes total sense, why people would want to have him killed.
Yeah.
He had a lot of dirt on a lot of people.
Totally.
There's many people out there who could want to take Jeffrey Epstein out.
Totally.
Or people in, coming together to do it as a group.
Very true.
Conspiring. That's what conspiracy means.
Exactly. As much as this could be a conspiracy, could it have been just an inmate that didn't like him or what he did and just took him out?
I mean, it's possible, but I would say I don't believe that as much as it's something more organized, because it seems like for all these other things to go wrong, the cameras to not work super well.
Yeah, the fact there's no footage of the top, the most high.
And then there were guards asleep.
Yeah, 2 of them.
Yeah,
they both fell asleep.
Yeah, that. I mean, it kind of seems like there's some corruption going on through the whole system.
Happening. Yeah,
that people are being paid off.
Yeah.
So I don't think a prisoner could pull this off just because they don't like him. And why would they want to whatever? If you're bad enough to be being kept with Jeffrey Epstein, you're probably in there for life. Anyone that could actually get their hands on him.
Unless
and at
they're
that
getting
point,
paid off or something.
Why would you try to hide it and make it seem like a suicide?
True. Yeah. Why wouldn't you want to be the one that took out Jeffrey Epstein?
Right. So I feel like it wouldn't be this big hidden thing. So.
Well,
it really seems like there was an organized plot to take him
within
out.
The correctional facility. Even it seems like they may have staged this.
Yeah. Well, and didn't this all happen right before he actually passed away? A month before, weeks before or something, there was another attack on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was when he was with the roommate. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's all probably the same thing. That was probably an attempt that just didn't work.
Yeah, very much. It definitely could have been.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really crazy.
We may never know, though.
As we don't with many things, we never know the truth about some of these crazy events.
They certainly stopped talking about him on the mainstream.
Yeah.
Most people forgot about it.
Yeah. It really hasn't been out there that much. I haven't been talking about it. It's being covered up and forget about it pretty much. Yeah. I don't know. It's really wild stuff. But the next story I wanted to talk about was something we talked about last week, actually, with the UK truck with 39 people found frozen to death inside of it.
Right. And we just wanted to tell you guys also that we do record these episodes in advance. I know we always post the video on Wednesdays and the audio on Mondays, but we film them normally like days before that, like Friday or sometimes even Thursday. So last time we said we weren't sure how the people had died. There was a lot of rumor and up in the air stuff.
Yeah, there really wasn't much released.
But it had come out already once the episode went up. So it kind of looked like we were missing things. But just a reminder, we do film in advance. Not everything.
Yeah, I didn't have all the facts yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's essentially what happened. We know his name is Maurice Robinson, a 25-year-old who was driving this truck. And he's from Northern Ireland, actually. And he was charged with the 39 counts of manslaughter, conspiracy to traffic people, conspiracy to assist unlawful immigration, and money laundering. And he's due in court on November 25th. But police are saying that they believed at first that all the people that were dead were Chinese citizens, but more than 20 Vietnamese families, almost all from the same region, have since expressed fears that their loved ones were among the victims. They still have an ID to everybody in the truck.
It's probably going to take a while.
Right.
From all over the place, too, these people.
Well, it seems like it could even be, all of them could be possibly from Vietnam.
Oh, really? All of them?
All of them could be. Yeah, there's been conflicting reports. Like some have said it's Chinese, some have said it's Vietnamese, but it seems like it could be even all Vietnamese because Vietnam is a hotbed for human trafficking. There's a lot of human trafficking that comes out of some of Vietnam's poorest regions. There's actually criminal gangs there that exploit young people. And, people are desperate to get out of these poverty conditions and, try to have a chance somewhere else. And they swoop in.
These are like immigrants pretty much.
Yeah. Well, what they do is they trick them. They say, hey, we'll give you money to send back to your family. We'll get you there and all of that. And, in reality, it's not really what they're doing most of the time. So, yeah, it's just really fucked up. But they're actually looking still for 2 brothers from Northern Ireland in connection to these deaths.
Wow.
Christopher Hughes and Ronan Hughes. So, yeah, look out for them if you're in those areas because what a bunch of bad dudes. Seriously.
For real.
I just can't believe people traffic other humans.
I know, it's pretty shocking.
And think that is remotely okay.
I know. I mean, you have to be such scum to take the only thing that we really have to hold on to as humans, which is like freedom, at the very least. Your freedom is like so important. And to just like take someone and try to own them and treat them as a
property,
an animal, a livestock or something is unbelievable that people can do that with a straight face.
And it happens so much all over the place, all over the world.
Yeah.
In places you would least expect it.
It's pretty shocking. That guy posted a selfie, smiling and stuff. How do you sleep at night?
How do you even get into this stuff? That's what I don't even understand how you get into this world.
You must be desperate to have to get into this.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't even know what kind of money's in it. Like the risk that you take is insane.
It must be decent money if people are taking these huge risks to, God, 39 people in the back. That's just so crazy.
Oh yeah. The other thing that I was going to say is somebody that actually drives trucks in the UK, I believe. Shout out to you for messaging me about this and explaining how it works. Because I had said that, that came from Bulgaria and it came from like Western Europe to England, and England's obviously an island. So there's that tunnel, and apparently only the cab of the truck, I believe, goes through the tunnel, and the trailer just gets put on a ship, I believe, like a ferry, and they ferry it to the UK. So the two are separate, but then they, at the port, they reconnect them. So yeah, pretty crazy stuff though. But this last story I've got comes right out of Colorado, and this has gained some national attention because it's pretty, I don't know. Well, let's see what you think about it. So this man, Leo Leck, had a 19-hour SWAT operation, happened at his house in 2015, where the police literally tore out every window of his house and pretty much reduced his house to rubble. And the city is saying that they're not going to pay for any of the damages that its officers caused, even though he had no connection to the incident that happened.
So basically, there was a criminal in his house.
Yeah.
This guy who's a shoplifting suspect.
Yeah, a shoplifting suspect took off.
Yeah.
Broke into this guy's house.
And then like hid in there.
And he was running because he had a lot of felony warrants too. It wasn't just a shoplifter.
Right,
It's like, why would a shoplifter be?
He stole a pack of gum.
Yeah. No, this was a wanted guy.
Yeah.
That they were trying to get.
And they just destroyed this house coming after this guy.
Well, I mean, they
Really
tried for
bad.
like 5 hours to get him to come out and surrender. But then he started firing at officers, and that's when they decided to fire back and then enter the home itself.
Oh my gosh.
They breached the doors with an armored vehicle, used explosives to blast holes in the walls. They flung tear gas canisters inside and fired 40 millimeter rounds at the home.
All his windows are like gone. There's just rubble hanging out.
Completely
so bad.
Destroyed the house. And the city of Greenwood Village actually offered to pay $5,000 for temporary living costs for the family, but otherwise it didn't have to pay for the damage.
That's not right.
Yeah, like if the police fuck up your house in a raid, they don't have to, they have no liability for that.
Well, I mean, at the same time, like it's not necessarily their fault because they're here to protect and serve.
They're doing their job.
They should hold the criminal accountable, but obviously he's probably not going to give you shit.
Right. Yeah, and so this homeowner has actually been trying to like get some money back for this, and he took it up to the U.S. District Court of Appeals, the 10th Circuit, and they actually ruled that they were not liable.
Wow.
So he's literally getting no help from the government whatsoever to rebuild his house. And his insurance is only paying $345,000 for the damage to the house, and the home appraised at a cost of $580,000.
That's insane.
So he has to come out of pocket.
So pissed. Had nothing to do with him, just because some fucking asshole hid in your house.
Yeah, it had not literally completely chance that this happened to him, and he literally had to take out a whole nother mortgage loan on a new house.
That's absurd. I can't believe that. Imagine if that happened to you. Oh, how awful. I'd be so mad.
There should be something in place like that.
Yeah, there really should be.
Another example is if your car is searched by a police dog, they let the dog go into the car.
Yeah.
And if the dog fucks up your car, they're not liable for it. Yeah, like if they were to jump in your, if you had a really nice car with nice seats and it scratched it up or broke your screen in your car.
They barely have any funding as it is, so how would they pay for it?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
But nobody's liable. And it's just on you.
That's crazy.
I don't know. It's kind of a controversial thing, and he's actually trying to take it up to the Supreme Court.
Wow, really?
To appeal this decision that was made. Because, I mean, I don't know. I don't think that's exactly fair to force him to pay all that extra money for something that has
that's not
nothing
fair
to do with
at
him.
all.
I mean, I'd be
0%
pissed.
fair. I'd be very mad.
Yeah.
I'd be fighting all the way. This poor guy. That sucks.
What's the lesson learned here is make sure you have adequate home insurance. Because I'm assuming that he didn't have adequate coverage for the house, or just maybe he didn't have a great insurance provider. Like that's why, as I've learned, get good homeowners insurance and make sure you have over the amount you need to rebuild your house in the event something like this happens. So
right.
I don't know, really crazy stuff. But before we get into some of our other interesting topics today, we'd like to thank our first sponsors for today. As most of us have found out the hard way, getting into debt is easy, but getting out is hard, especially if your credit score isn't great. Thankfully, now there's Upstart.com, the revolutionary lending platform that knows you're more than just your credit score and offers smarter interest rates to help you pay off high interest credit card debt. Because when you turn 18, they bombard you with credit cards, and like me, I took all the credit cards I could get and I started buying a bunch of shit, and eventually I got myself into debt and couldn't get myself out. And I wish I would have had Upstart there to help me get a loan to consolidate all that debt so I could get it paid off faster at a lower interest rate. What's great about Upstart is they go beyond the traditional credit score when assessing your credit worthiness, which is super helpful, and they actually reward you based on your education and job history in the form of a smarter interest rate. They believe you're more than your credit score, and they believe in you, and they understand that. They make it fast, simple, and easy to check your rate in just a few minutes. And the best part is that once the loan is approved
and accepted. Most people get their funds the very next business day, not weeks later, the next day. Over 300,000 people have used Upstart to pay off credit cards or meet their financial goals. Free yourself from the burden of high interest credit card debt by consolidating everything into one monthly payment with Upstart. Super simple. So see why Upstart is ranked number one in their category with over 300 businesses on Trustpilot. And hurry to upstart.com/milehire to find out how low your Upstart rate is. Checking your rate only takes a few minutes and won't affect your credit. That's upstart.com/milehire. When I talk about stamps.com, I always wonder who in the world still goes to the post office and why. Because stamps.com brings the post office right to you. No need to interrupt your workday to fight traffic to get to the post office before it closes because, those hours are not great. And especially now during the holidays, there's always a line at the counter at the post office and it's extra busy. And who has time for that? Stamps.com literally brings all of the services of the U.S. Postal Service right to your computer. Whether you're a small business, sending invoices, an online seller shipping out products, or even a warehouse sending thousands of packages a day, Stamps.com can handle it all with ease. You literally just print out the postage 24/7 for any letter, any package, any class of mail, anywhere you want to send. And once your mail is ready, you just hand it to your mail carrier or drop it in the mailbox. It's that simple. Not only that, with Stamps.com, you save money on postage. You get 5 cents off every first class stamp and up to 40% off priority mail, which is a great deal. Stamps.com is a no-brainer, saving you time and money. It's no wonder over 700,000 small businesses, including my own, use Stamps.com. So don't spend a minute of your holiday season at the post office this year. Sign up for Stamps.com instead. There's literally no risk. With my promo code MILEHIGHER, you get a special offer that includes a 4-week trial, plus free postage and a digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to Stamps.com, click on the little microphone at the top of the homepage, and type in code MILEHIGHER. That's Stamps.com and enter code MILEHIGHER. Never go to the post office again.
So we all know that even if you try really hard to eat kale salads and drink green smoothies, we most likely are not getting all of the essential nutrients that we need on a daily basis. We all want to do the right thing to keep our bodies healthy in the long run, and this is where Ritual comes in handy. It is the obsessively researched vitamin for women. Ritual's Essentials has the nutrients that most of us don't get from our food, all in their clean and absorbable forms. No shady additives, and no ingredients that can do more harm to your body than good. It's just too easy to take capsules, and they provide 9 nutrients that you need to support a strong foundation for your health. Ritual's Essential for Women is a multivitamin reimagined. From D3 to omega-3, their vitamin helps women fill in the gaps of their diet. And they have a no nausea capsule design that's gentle on an empty stomach. They also have a mint tab in the bottle to keep things fresh so that you don't get that nasty, fishy aftertaste that's common with most omega-3s. Ritual is traceable and transparent. It's for obsessive label readers. All of Ritual's ingredients are vegan-friendly, sugar-free, non-GMO, gluten-free, and allergen-free. So check it out today. You can start a subscription. It's actually very easy to start and easy to snooze as well. Better health doesn't happen overnight, and right now Ritual is offering our listeners 10% off during their first 3 months. Fill in the gaps of your diet with Essentials for Women, a small step that helps support a healthy foundation for your body. Visit ritual.com/mile to start your Ritual today. That's 10% off during your first 3 months at ritual.com/mile.
Whether you just got the keys to your first place or you're looking to upgrade the pieces you've had forever, Snow has home goods that are practical and striking to look at. Snow makes luxury essentials for every room in your home, minus the markup. They partner directly with master craftsmen to create beautiful, simple products that are made to last, like their incredibly soft award-winning sheets, which we got some of their sheets. But they have much more than sheets. They have fluffy duvets, they have air-spun cotton towels, robes. They also have durable dishwasher-safe porcelain dinnerware and wine glasses with titanium and 4 stems in case somebody gets a little sloppy. Not only that, they have aromatherapy, they have stuff for baths, they have stuff for literally anything in your home that you need, they've got it. And that's why Snow has received rave reviews from Vogue, Fast Company, Apartment Therapy, and more. It's the home collection of your dreams, priced for your reality. especially if you're interested in getting the best of the best luxury essentials. And right now, Snow is offering our listeners $30 off your first purchase of $150 or more when you go to snowhome.com/milehigher. That's SNOWE home.com/milehigher to get $30 off your first order. Again, guys, visit snowhome.com/milehigher for your special offer today.
Okay, so this kind of came out like 2 years ago, 2000 or 3 years ago even, but a lot of people don't know about this. Have you ever heard of Vantablack?
Negative. Vantablack.
It is a type of material that is the darkest material on Earth. So like the darkest thing possible other than a black hole.
Wow.
Absolutely no light reflects off of this. Well, barely any.
Yeah, it's like 0.035% is
Yep.
the amount of visible light
Yep.
that it reflects.
It was developed by Surrey Nanosystems in the United Kingdom, and it absorbs 99.965% of visible light.
That's insane.
And so it's not like a color, like you can't like
It's like
paint
a
with it. It
man-made
does come in like a
substance.
paint thing, but it's basically a bunch of tubes that are really close together, but they're like smaller than an atom. All these little, they're called like nanotubes.
Whoa, that's crazy.
And when you shine any light at it, it like does not reflect. So when you look at something like, you don't see any type of shadow. So this is an example.
So it looks like you're staring into the abyss
Right.
of a black. Oh wow, that's crazy.
Okay. So there's this like head on it,
Yeah.
but as it turns, you won't be able to see it like at all. Completely
Whoa.
blends.
Oh wow, no light. Yeah, no light's bouncing off of it.
Not at all.
Wild. So it's like almost creating an invisibility type of substance, you know?
Right.
Like at night, you're not going to see that at all. You're going to be invisible with Vantablack.
Maybe.
No, you are, because like the amount of light there is already at night is very minimal. So you're going to be essentially invisible.
I mean, essentially. But there's a car. There's a
Oh, that's
Vantablack
cool shit.
BMW, the darkest car
I was
in the
gonna say,
world.
I'm wondering if you can wrap this material onto things, and it looks
Yep.
like you can. Oh, that's sick.
Isn't that? It's like super
If I had
dark.
endless money, I would get my
Get
Jeep
that.
wrapped in Vantablack. That'd be sweet.
Isn't that cool?
Ooh, that's really cool. Yeah, it literally looks like you're looking at, because it's not just like a normal matte black or a metallic black.
It's like the darkest thing you can look at.
it's darker because there's
Yeah.
zero light essentially reflecting.
And apparently, I mean, we can only see it through the screen. We don't have any in front of us, but apparently it's really
in
interesting
person, I'm
to
sure
look
it's
at.
way crazier to look at.
Yeah,
'cause
like they
it's-
had people on BuzzFeed like react to looking
Oh,
at a
really?
piece of it because it's just so dark.
That's cool.
It is this special material.
Huh.
So yeah, like I said, it's composed of a forest of vertical tubes that are grown on a substrate using a modified chemical vapor deposition process.
Wow. Sounds like some really advanced shit. So it actually traps the light, huh? It like
Yes.
completely traps it,
Mm-hmm.
absorbing it, and then dissipates it into heat.
Mm-hmm.
It swallows light. That's so cool.
Pretty much.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
incredible.
So NASA has previously developed similar substances to this,
Huh.
but they haven't been able to make it like completely dark.
Yeah.
But they want to make something more heat resistant than Vantablack.
Yeah.
You know, because it's not so great. But now it's been approved for artistic use. And it actually does come in like a paint. It's called Vantablack S/VIS. And it's a sprayable paint that uses randomly aligned carbon nanotubes and only has a high absorption in the visible light band and has been exclusively licensed to Anish Kapoor, their studio actually, for artistic use. And a lot of people have been really pissed about this, a lot of other artists,
Yeah, I'm
because
sure.
it's like
Like,
exclusive.
why would you make it exclusive to one studio?
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
So that's how it is as of right now. But I thought it was really interesting. I had never heard about it before I saw this.
I always wondered about that. I'm like, I'm sure we're figuring out ways to create new colors and new types of materials because
and-
like it's endless and it's
Can you own it? Like, imagine if someone had owned a color,
Yeah.
red.
True. Yeah, you'd be really rich right now.
So I don't know.
But
It's really
I think,
interesting.
but this is like more of like a material.
It is.
Seems.
It's
and
really not a color.
The black color.
No, it's a material.
the fact that this material absorbs all this light. I can only imagine all the cool things you could create from this material.
Totally.
Like imagine a Batman suit in this
Hell
material.
yeah.
That'd be sweet.
That
Or like,
would be sweet. That'd be the coolest.
they should make a
Halloween
superhero that
costume
wears
out
this
there.
Vantablack.
That would be like a good name for a
Call him like
Vantablack. You just call him that.
Black Hole.
The black hole.
The Black Hole. That'd
Yeah.
be cool.
Hell yeah.
Because like they become invisible once they go into the like dark or shadows. They're just gone. And you can't see them,
That'd be
even
kind
though
of a
they're
good-
right in front of you.
Yeah, you should write a
Marvel,
comic, Josh.
hit me up. I got
That's
some
great,
good ideas.
Great stuff.
The Black Hole.
100%.
I would come up with that.
It's excellent.
So this story is quite interesting. Russian researchers found a secret Nazi era Arctic weather station. This is crazy. So on this island of Alexandra Land in the Arctic Circle, it's been often dismissed as a myth, but 72 years later, Russian researchers have stumbled on the site of a lost weather station along with a handful of wartime relics from the 1940s. This station was known as the Fortune Seeker. It was a secret Nazi-era meteorological station that was operated by Germany on the Franz Josef Land archipelago during the Second World War. It was reportedly abandoned and destroyed in July 1944, and the story goes that all of the scientists on this island became severely ill with trichinosis.
Ooh, what's that?
I don't even know what that is, but apparently they got it after being forced to eat infected polar bear meat
Ew,
during
what
a
the
stint
actual
of
fuck?
low supplies. So
It's
they
a
ran out of.
parasitic disease.
Thank you, Joe.
Oh, nasty. Does that not scare the shit out of you?
Eugh.
Caused
Having-
by roundworms.
Ooh.
Oh.
Doesn't that sound so horrible? Like, imagine a
That's a-
doctor telling you you've got a
Parasitic,
parasite
yeah.
or a worm. Like, oh, fuck no. I'd be like, just kill me then.
Well, that's what happened. They died.
Well, yeah, I'm sure if this was untreated.
Yeah. But the meteorologists were actually rescued and the camp was thought to have been destroyed. Over the decades of time, the harsh weather up there, people thought that it completely eroded everything and there was nothing left of the settlement. But artifacts have been discovered on the island, and these objects bear Nazi insignias and swastikas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So the Nazis were up in the Arctic Circle, which is interesting.
There's a lot of theories about that and stuff. We might have to do a whole episode on that.
Because could they have been in the South Pole as well, in Antarctica?
I think it's very possible.
It
They were doing
seems
stuff
like
up there.
it really seems like the Nazis really wanted world domination, and they were going to do whatever it took.
I think
to do
that's
it.
what like Mein Kampf was about, right? His book, Hitler's book.
He did. He wanted to completely control the world.
Yeah, like he may not have outright said that, but like subtly, yeah. I think actually he pretty much did outright say that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seemed like they were doing. There's other proof of them doing stuff up there. There's so many theories regarding Nazis. In
yeah,
Antarctica.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, there's actually a theory about a Nazi expedition to Antarctica where they were exploring and mapping the area, and they uncovered a multitude of underground caves and rivers. And one of the caves was particularly large and was turned into a large city that would be home to both Nazis and other powerful groups like the Illuminati. And along the way, the Germans either came across alien technology or made contact with aliens. There's this whole like alien Nazi theory going on with Antarctica, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, we could probably do a whole episode on that. We really should.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I want to know more about it.
There's a lot. Well, and that's not the only theory. There's other theories too
There's
about
tons.
what's hidden below the ice of Antarctica.
Tons. The Antarctica theories are just very vast. We honestly would need to do like multiple episodes to cover them all like fully.
I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot for sure.
There is.
But I don't even know, like, if there was stuff there, is it still there today? Is there still
True. Right.
bunkers and things like that? Yeah, because there's a lot of theories that believe that they, had this advanced technology and they kind of colonized
Mm-hmm.
and built a base and bunkers in Antarctica. I mean, if they're building a weather station up in the Arctic Circle on that island, why wouldn't they be doing that type of stuff in Antarctica?
Right. I mean, that makes sense.
Clearly, they were trying to, set up all of these strategic locations all over the world. So it only makes sense. But about 500 items of historical value have been collected on the grounds of the former station that was on that island. And it includes munitions and military equipment and everyday items, personal effects, and fragments of meteorological devices. But crazy, all that stuff's been there for so many years, and you know, we're just now picking it up and putting the pieces together.
That is.
There's just so much interesting things in history that have been lost to time, you know, like so many things that have just been buried beneath the ice or buried beneath the sand or buried beneath the ocean. And, you know, we're just like, it's just sitting there waiting for somebody to come and find it. And
doesn't that drive you crazy? Don't you wish you could just go out and do it yourself?
I do. That's what I want to be in my next life, is a archaeologist. I actually used to say I wanted to be an archaeologist. I used to say everything now.
Yeah.
This is getting ridiculous, Josh. Like, oh my God, I used to want to be everything. But really, at one time, I did want to be an archaeologist.
Curious about
or
everything.
a paleontologist. I'm sorry. I wanted to be a paleontologist.
Oh, really?
When I was young, yes.
Oh, I never heard this.
After going to the museum, I was
You also wanted to be a doctor and a vet.
and an astronaut and pizza delivery.
And a Starbucks barista.
Yes, that's my new.
That's what you said the other day in the drive-thru.
I wish there was a way that I could just go do all these just for like a week and just like.
Josh, and the other day you were like saying, "Oh, I wish it'd be like I want to do the construction job. It looks really fun." You just like want to like get a taste of everyone's
hate
job.
building IKEA furniture. You think you're gonna go build yourself a studio?
Yeah, right.
No, I just wanted to drive.
He wanted to drive their
the
little
bulldozer thing. Yeah, the bobcat.
Oh, the studio was delayed again, guys, because the snow. We got
a
snow in
blizzard.
Colorado. Blizzard, yeah, for days.
Dumped on.
Like
Dumped.
8 inches.
Big time. Yeah.
Oops.
Happy Halloween.
Yeah.
Yep.
But next week,
Hopefully.
you know, I'll believe it when I see it at this point.
Seriously. You guys are probably like, yeah, we're not expecting it for another year.
Yeah, because for those of you listening, and if you've never watched us on YouTube, we're literally sitting at a table
Yeah.
in the basement.
We talked about this before, but
Yeah.
it's a card table with a cloth,
Yeah, it's
tablecloth
not
over it.
It's not as nice as our
Well,
last.
it's hard to have a card table. It's not just because it's a card table. It's because it's these heavy mics are on it. And so they're like, they can't really be supported by this like plastic table we're using. And
Yeah.
yep,
One day we'll have a studio again.
we will. It's just taking a little time. It's been a little test of our patience, but
It'll be worth it.
yeah, it will be.
So what about John Wayne Gacy's house? That motherfucker.
Okay, so this is kind of interesting. Low key, I just was curious about this whole situation, but would you guys ever buy a house that sits on the lot where John Wayne Gacy murdered 33 people? Would you ever be willing?
Would I do it?
do it?
Absolutely.
Of course your ass would. I didn't even need to ask. Janelle, what do you think?
Maybe if it was already torn down.
And yes, let me clarify. It is torn down. His house is gone.
So they
'cause
built a
that
new
house
one.
was fucked. That house
Oh,
was
yeah.
filled with bodies.
You couldn't
no.
remodel
No,
that.
they
Probably
took
not
it
then,
down.
actually. I don't think so. You know what? I'm going to retract my statement and say I would not put an offer in.
Even if it was discounted at 10%.
for a discounted price.
That's a good discount.
I think I'd do it for a
A
McDonald's
bitch loves
fry.
a deal.
I know you do love a deal.
I love a sale. I don't know, though. I don't know if I would be regretting that later, thinking about what's going on.
Well, think about all the spirits that died there. I mean, talk about haunted, right? Even in a new house, I feel like just the grounds in general.
Well, yeah, they always say that stuff that's built on burial grounds is, can be active with spirits. So
Exactly.
why? I mean, yeah,
Exactly.
I don't know.
But yeah, this house originally had 29 bodies in it when it was discovered in 1978, which we have a whole podcast on Jane Wayne.
Jane Wayne.
Oh my gosh.
John Wayne.
John Wayne Gacy. Sorry,
Yes.
I always screw up his name for some reason. But we have a whole podcast on it. If you have not heard it, we will link it below.
Crazy serial killer.
Yeah, he really was. He buried just about all his victims there. 33 of them total, but he only buried 29 in the actual house. The rest he ran out of room, that sick fuck, and had to start. He put the rest of them in the Des Plaines River.
Yeah. The amount of paranormal activity though in that area, I think would
gotta
be
be intense.
pretty intense. If you were asking, there's somebody that would buy it.
Yeah.
Zach Bagans would definitely buy it because
Like a haunted person.
He's the famous paranormal guy on Ghost Adventures.
Yeah.
He would buy it because he actually bought a haunted house, the Demon House.
Well, he should jump on it because 7 years after they found the bodies in it, a new home was built on the lot. They bulldozed the house down.
Fully
And basically this woman bought it for her parents. She just decided to build them a house, and she got it for a really good deal. She was from Chicago, and she bought the house for $30,000
in 1986.
Yeah, I know, but still built the land. It was a major discount on the land because no one wanted it.
Right.
And then she built the house. But even now, as a new built house, the real estate market is still, they're, generally expecting to get a discount of about 10%.
Well, yeah,
because of this.
People are going to want to know, like, why are you giving the discount?
Yeah, exactly.
I think a lot.
Well, they're not giving the discount. They're expecting to have to take a loss of at least 10%.
Somebody's going to be like, hey,
I don't think they're going to be able
to
to sell it for whatever they're selling it for
price.
now. Sorry, my notes are all over the place. $459. It's a 2,500 square foot, and the lot itself is 9,000 square feet, and then the actual square footage of the property is 2,500 square feet.
Yeah.
3-bedroom, 2-bath, $459. It's advertised as a beautiful brick home with an updated kitchen that overlooks a huge backyard.
Watch this house. Watch somebody buy this house, move in, and it's the next house we see on
Possibly.
all the paranormal shows.
Yeah,
because the owner's calling them to the house, being like, "My house is extremely haunted. There's all kinds of crazy shit happening." Well, you'd
think you're definitely seeming to think that someone's going to buy this that is interested in it for its being haunted, but they're not advertising it that at all.
Well,
they're totally trying to hide the fact that, this was John Wayne Gacy's house.
Yeah, but come on, somebody's going to figure it out.
No, people know for sure.
The neighbor's going to be like,
all over it.
There was bodies buried beneath your house at
29.
Yeah.
I feel like you should have to disclose something like that.
How do they even
If there was
know?
a mass murder that occurred on the property, I feel like you need to tell the owner.
Let's hope they actually dug up the whole lot too, to make sure that there's not some remnants.
Their dogs out there and they bring something in.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, who doesn't, for all we know, he could have hid other things and people on the lot somewhere.
I think they got it all.
Well, let's hope so.
Yeah, it's pretty scary stuff.
Yeah.
So that would be a no.
You
would not buy it. Josh is a yes. Janelle's a no. I don't think I would buy this shit. No way.
I'd flip or flop it.
I mean, it doesn't matter. It's already been flipped and flopped.
I'd flip it again.
Still doesn't matter. The energy's still shit.
Or you make it like a paranormal house or something.
And do what? Live there and hate your life every day while you're being tortured by the souls that were tortured there?
Yeah, God. I don't know.
Doesn't sound like fun to me. I wouldn't buy that house.
God, that's crazy.
We'll see. We'll see how much it sells for. It's kind of interesting. TMZ's been all over it. So
I'm sure.
They were my source.
Watch if you know who Zach Bagans is, then you watch. He might go for it.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if there's anything haunted going on there.
Well,
we'll see.
He might just own it to say he owns John Wayne Gacy's, because he has Pogo the Clown paintings in his haunted museum and stuff.
Okay.
He's got some of his artifacts, so he might go for it. But my next story is about the police, because this is something that, is, I mean, we've all encountered the police at one point or another, and almost every interaction, it seems like it's a stressful situation when you encounter the police a lot of the times.
I have had terrible experiences, but I've also had good experiences. It's hard to say, but most of my experiences have not been good.
Yeah.
To be honest. I mean, I've had a lot.
Were you stressed out?
Yes, very stressed out.
That's a problem.
I have a fear of police. When I see a police car, oftentimes I'll be scared.
I think we all kind of jump a little bit, when you start going, oh shit. You got a police car tailing you.
Get stressed.
Even
it's like an anxiety.
You're not doing anything. You're
right.
Automatically a stress factor. That's bad.
Yeah, I know.
That's bad.
It's like, obviously, I want to make it clear we're not saying all police are like this.
No, it's not the police fault. It's just the actual persona and, kind of what they've become as a whole has kind of changed over the years. And I think there's a lot of negative connotations put on the police. Mm-hmm. And we automatically associate our, encounter with a police officer with somebody else's.
Right.
It doesn't mean that we're going to have a negative encounter with them, which, I knew a lot of cops, especially back in the day, and I knew a lot of really, really good ones and just really good people that were doing the job correctly. I went on a ton of ride-alongs, and I've seen a lot of really good police work.
in policing. And I've also seen some negative stuff where I'm like, these people should not be police officers at the end of the day. They're just not built for it, because it's a hard job. I mean, it's super stressful on them.
Very
They're putting their
taxing.
life on the line when they don't know who you are. They have no idea if you're, going to hurt them or try to, do something. So that's why encounters are so stressful, is because of just kind of where our society is in general, and just kind of how violent it is and how unpredictable it is.
Yeah.
But this
very true.
specific story actually has to do with mental health. And Denver, Colorado might become the 8th U.S. city to take cops out of mental health 911 calls.
Oh.
So one of the biggest problems that we've seen is cops responding to incidents involving people that have mental health issues, and it could be from mild to severe ailments, such as like schizophrenia, to high anxiety even, or people that are just straight up kind of out of their mind in a sense. And oftentimes the police are not trained properly to deal with somebody like that, or not patient enough to deal with it, and somebody ends up getting hurt or killed even, as we've seen with plenty of examples of that. Many. So they're trying to figure out, how do we fix this? Because nobody should die on a welfare check, right? If a police officer is coming to check on an individual, to make sure they're okay, because nobody's heard from them, and somebody ends up dying because of this, and there's no reason for it.
Yeah, that last one was the most horrific story.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that welfare check was just blatantly should have never happened. She should have never been shot in the first place. But if you show up on a welfare check and the person's just kind of mentally ill, and they're acting kind of crazy, or they're, just out in the street with a knife. I mean, we've even seen on like live PD.
Oh, you saw that in my dad's neighbor.
Yeah, exactly. They're just kind of,
they're running around the street, lighting bottle rockets, naked, screaming.
Yeah, exactly. So how do you deal with that? And should police deal with that? Or what some of these cities are starting to do, including what Denver's about to do, is they're putting in place this program called Crisis Assistance Helping Out on the Streets, or CAHOOTS. And basically, whenever there's a mental health related 911 call, so I don't know the exact specifics of this. I don't know if it's, if the individual that they're dealing with that they know has mental health issues, that they're actually doing this, or if it's just, they show up on scene and it's clearly somebody that's mentally ill, and then police kind of take a step back and they send in a mental health professional to deal with the individual. And they've actually had a lot of success with this. So they send in a mental health professional that's not wearing a uniform or anything like that. It's way less stressful. It's way less stressful. They might be able to de-escalate the situation without having to get physical.
I think the uniform can be a little intimidating at times. Like, it's so important because that's how you identify police officers, but it is also a little scary. Like, you don't necessarily, especially if you're having a mental episode, you could totally be more afraid of it. I think coming from a therapist, mental health professional would be so much better. That makes a lot of sense. That's really cool.
So they've been running this program in Los Angeles, Oakland, New York, Vancouver, and Portland, and Denver's about to put it in place because they've actually been struggling with a 9% increase in mental health related 911 calls over the past 3 years.
Gosh, wow.
And for example, in Eugene, the city of Eugene, they diverted 17% of the 130,000 calls through the CAHOOTS program in 2017 alone.
Wow.
So a lot of if you think about it, kind of makes sense. Like, a lot of 911 calls probably do have to deal with people that are mentally ill, that need psychiatric help, not necessarily the police to come deal with them.
I bet if you asked, it's probably a good percentage of 911 calls too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if you look at the issue with people in prison that have mental health issues.
That's true.
It's a major problem. And,
it is.
And, you can't exactly blame somebody for everything that they do, because they're not mentally capable of dealing with the stress that they're under, the situation they're in, the environment. I think environment has so much to do with it too, especially when we're dealing with people in prison that are mentally ill. Yeah. It's just crazy though. And, I hope it helps, because got to figure this mental health issue out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it just seems like a huge thing to tackle though,
It is. It's really tricky too. Like, how do you know for sure if somebody's mentally ill, or they're just acting like crazy or something? They're just being stupid or drunk.
How does drugs or drinking come into this?
Well, I don't think that's the examples that this program gets
Because they're not going to
utilized
send
for.
like a therapist in for that.
No, call on the therapist. We got a
Right.
drunk guy with a knife in the street or something.
So, but how do you tell the difference sometimes?
Well, I think
In some cases,
they're
it might be hard.
they're starting to individuals that are making contact with police are, it's, on your record. Like they
Mhm.
know that you're diagnosed with this, and they're starting to know how to deal with that. And plus they have started training police departments on how to better deal with mental health or just people that are in crisis situations,
Mm-hmm.
like we saw that one video on live PD where the individual was like, kill me.
Right.
They're having a mental health
And that happens all the
nightmare
time.
where
They want to have
wanna
death
be-
by a cop.
yeah, suicide by cop. And the cop's like, no, I'm not going to shoot you. I'm not going to
Mhm.
shoot you.
How
And
do you
it's very
de-escalate
patient.
that?
You have to be patient. But at the same time, you got to make sure you keep yourself safe as the officer. Like
Right.
this guy has a knife or a gun,
And how much training in mental health do police officers get?
Exactly.
It's not
Exactly.
really their forte.
Right.
So I don't think that should really be expected of them after everything else they have to worry about,
It's true.
So it's there honestly should be mental health professionals within the police department that
Exactly.
work with the
exactly.
officers.
It should be a part of training. It should be
Yeah.
a part of,
or there's just like a
the
therapist
interview
in the
process.
department, like department therapists.
yeah, which I think there are some in some places, but
Yeah, there probably are.
not nearly enough.
Yeah.
Because it's a mentally
Interesting.
taxing job. You absolutely, as a cop, should have a therapist and be talking
Oh,
to
yeah.
somebody.
No,
about
I
what
just
you're
meant
dealing
like
with.
actual officers that are they're like officers, but they're trained in mental health as well,
Ah.
so that they can come to scenes
Yeah.
and still have some type
Which
of
there are.
training
There
for
are.
the situation. Because
Like-
what if you're in a dangerous situation? You're just a therapist?
No, like there are like hostage negotiation type people are trained to deal with people like that.
Okay.
Like they go to special training where they learn how to just talk with a person like that.
But on another note, it would be good for them to have therapists in the departments for police to talk to as well, because it is a very taxing job mentally.
Yeah.
And there's probably a lot you need to talk about. I'd be wanting to talk to someone just about all the other, drama around
Yeah,
police
yeah.
in general. I'd have anxiety if I was a police officer, just because it's very, I don't know, the job's very difficult. It's very difficult. And it
Well, you're
would be
dealing
nice
with
for them to have
difficult
someone to talk
situations
to.
every day.
But I wonder if that's a thing already. You should
It
let us
is.
know.
It is. There some departments do have
Okay.
like therapists and people to
Good.
talk to.
Good.
But like small departments that don't have the
Right.
resources or money may not.
May not.
And
Right.
a lot of times when these incidents happen where mental health, plays a role in somebody that gets killed or, shot or something,
Mhm.
a lot of times it's in a department that doesn't have the resources available to them to really deal with those situations. And they're understaffed, underfunded.
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean, it creates a really bad situation.
Totally.
So yeah, I don't know. I thought it was interesting because it's a really big problem that we need to deal with.
All right. So this last one actually came to us from a subscriber. Shout out to you, Serena. She took 2 of our baby bunnies and she lives in Texas. But she told me about the Superman curse.
Oh,
Have you heard of this?
I have not heard of the Superman curse.
Yeah. Well, which also I did want to say we are going to take requests from you guys for future podcasts and Ponder Sesh episodes. We're going to have a link in the bio for the next episode.
In the
If you-
bio?
Yeah, in the bio.
In the descript?
I guess that's not like on podcasts. I'm a YouTuber.
No, in the show notes, guys. We'll put
The show
The-
notes. Oh,
the
okay. Yeah.
form link.
Yeah. It'll be
for-
there for future requests. If you have something that you're like, oh my gosh, I'd love to hear them talk about this,
That's
you
a
can
good
submit
idea.
it there.
Yeah. So what's the
Yes.
Superman curse?
Okay, so basically everyone who has played Superman on like a professional setting in the past
Okay.
has either had something really bad happen to them, they physically, or they've died, or their career kind of fizzled out. They just haven't had good luck since playing the role of Superman. So
Mm,
people think that there's a Superman curse.
Interesting.
So Kirk Allen was the first actor to portray Superman, starring in two 15-minute two 15-episode film series for Columbia Studios starting in 1948, Superman and the Atom Man versus Superman. He began his career as a chorus boy and then worked his way up through the acting ranks to his co-starring role in Republic Studios, and they gave him his final big break. But then the studio executives at Columbia Pictures took note that he had a really strong resemblance to Clark Kent.
The
And-
actual character.
Yeah.
Right.
And then eventually they cast him as a mild-mannered reporter. But he wasn't as well known, so they kept his name out of the credits in Superman.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was kind of the start of his bad luck. They didn't even credit him
That sucks.
for the parts that he did play.
Yeah, that's shitty.
Yeah.
The hell?
So then he wasn't able to kind of get his career going after that.
Yeah, because nobody even knew who he was.
No.
Who was playing Superman?
Yeah. And he kind of only had the Superman vibe. Like when he would go in for other auditions, people like knew him in the industry as Superman. So he like wasn't able to get any roles
Gotcha.
going forward.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, it's kind of a stretch. His is probably the least interesting. But he kind of like fizzled out. So they definitely use him as part of the theory. But in his final years, he did struggle from Alzheimer's disease and died. And, people didn't really know who he was for the most part. Like he didn't
He
really
was
get
kind of like this
recognition when he died.
unknown actor that played a really iconic character, and yet nobody knew who he was, and essentially died as a no-namer. pretty much.
Exactly. Yeah. So he was
That
kind
sucks.
of, yeah. And then there's George Reeves, who was the first television Superman. And he was in both a 1951 film and the Adventures of Superman TV show that ran for 6 years, starting in 1952. But after 5 successful seasons, Superman was canceled in 1958, and he struggled to find work after that. And then on June 16th, 1959, the actor was actually found dead in his bedroom during a party at his house. And the cause of death was a gunshot wound to his head,
Oh shit.
which the police ruled this as suicide, but there were testimonies of like a bunch of drunk guests, which they
Yeah,
really kind of haven't
Like who
been able to
knows if
figure
they
it out.
really knew what was going on?
Yeah, so it's been kind of inconclusive, but there's, quite a bit of murder rumors, and there's, people that say there's even physical evidence that he was possibly murdered.
Interesting.
So that's bad luck. And then there's probably the most famous case, Christopher Reeve, who did classical acting training at Cornell. And then he first did his first Superman movie, 1978, in Superman, and they did 3 sequels for that as well.
Right.
Then in 1995, he had an accident. He was actually really into horses, and he rode horses. He did competing and, what is it called?
Equestrian.
Equestrian training.
Where you're like riding around and jumping over stuff. And yeah.
I tried that. My mom put me in classes. I did it twice and then quit because the smell.
Yeah, I've never done equestrian. I've always been a Western
Or maybe I
horse
did that.
rider.
I did like where you like ride around little circles and jump on stuff and everything.
That's
My mom put me
equestrian.
in that.
Unless you're running around barrels or lassoing, that's Western.
Yeah, I mean, I never made it to anything like that. It was like learn how to walk on the horse.
Yeah. Where they like make you do like trot and then
Yeah.
do like, different
Yeah.
types of riding.
It's pretty difficult. And like, the
Yeah,
reason why
it
it's so
is.
hard is because you got to make sure that the horse doesn't throw you.
Yeah.
Which that's what happened to him. He was thrown from the mountain, suffered from a broken neck.
Shit.
Yeah, it was really bad. And the accident left him a lifelong quadriplegic,
Shit, man.
dependent on a respirator.
God, that's crazy.
But it didn't let him slow him down too much. He continued to act and actually became a vocal advocate for those suffering from paralysis. But despite beating the odds, and getting some, feeling back in his limbs, he did die from pneumonia, which was a complication of his condition at the age of 52.
Died young.
Yeah, so people think it's a curse. Is it just, by chance? Then there's Lee John Quigley, who was cast as Superman when he was only 7 months old, appearing alongside Marlon Brando in the 1978 version of Superman.
As a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? But then he actually died due to complications from solvent abuse at
Oh,
age
shit.
14.
Wow.
Solvent abuse.
So anybody that's directly involved with Superman
Or
either
played
plays
yeah,
any shape form of Superman in the films
right. They
has
think,
issues.
yeah. But there's also some people that think that it's connected to other actors as well in the franchise, such as Marlon Brando. He had some issues as well.
So it's not really a curse. It's a complete.
No, and then there's Richard Pryor, who played the computer hacker in Superman 3, and he lit himself on fire during a binge and later developed multiple sclerosis. But lit himself on fire during a drug binge.
Jesus. So maybe it's just, not necessarily a curse, but it's just Hollywood for you.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what it looks like to me. Margaret. Margaret.
That might be right.
That was funny.
Is it Margaret or Margaret?
Margaret. Margaret Kidder. She played Lois Lane, and then she went on to suffer bipolar disorder and addiction, which, you know, left havoc on her life and derailed her career. But again, that's Hollywood for you. That's the thing, is like so many people, so many famous actors and
have issues. Like you could say there's a curse on every franchise almost, you know.
It is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm curious what you guys think about that.
The Superman curse.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting. I don't know how much there is to it, but I wanted to share it.
Other characters that have curses behind them. I'm sure there are.
And this is one more interesting thing. People think that the curse was originally started by the hero's creators, who actually came up with Superman, Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. And they sold the rights to Superman early on for only $130 to DC
they got
Comics.
ripped off, man.
Yep. And they spent the rest of their lives trying to recover legal ownership over the gold mine that is Superman.
I bet they were trying to get it back because they're like, damn,
isn't that
we didn't realize that this would
crazy?
turn into a multi-billion-dollar franchise. Like,
yeah,
damn.
exactly. And then the $130 check sold at an auction in 2012 for $160,000.
Damn.
How insane is that?
So it's not like a curse in the fact of like, I'm placing a curse on.
No.
It's not like they got together and like,
there's not much to it.
We're going to curse Superman and curse anybody that ever plays Superman.
But it's interesting.
Coincidences that all add up to thinking maybe a curse.
Right.
Or it's just kind of a figure of speech, a curse.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting though.
It is.
Very weird. The last little story that I've got is something that happened recently that was actually pretty crazy to see, really, because it had to do with Edward Snowden, who is a whistleblower, a former employee and contractor for both the CIA and NSA, who leaked highly classified information about a number of widespread government programs that were used to surveil us without our knowledge. If you guys remember when all that went down a few years ago, or maybe it's been longer than that. But Joe Rogan actually had him on the podcast virtually.
Wow, that's cool.
And got to talk to him because he's exiled in Russia right now.
Yeah, what a crazy guest to have on your podcast. God, Joe Rogan gets the best guests.
He does.
He gets the craziest guests.
He does. But of course, you know, while interviewing him, they got into a bunch of different topics. But one thing in particular that Joe had to ask about, of course, and I'm glad he did, was if Edward Snowden had ever come across any sort of information that would tell us if, you know, the government's hiding information on aliens or not. Right. And of course he kind of laughed about it at first. He was like, of course you'd like want to know that.
Yeah.
But basically what he said is, quote unquote, for the record, as far as I could tell, aliens have never contacted Earth, or at least they haven't contacted U.S. intelligence, in case you were wondering. Yeah.
Very interesting. Does that mean he just doesn't know, though? He hasn't come across the information? Or
well, he said that
he's probably seen so much.
He had like unlimited access to the NSA, the CIA, all these different computer systems and files. And I mean, if he found this top secret surveillance program that was classified, you think he's like, I had access to everything pretty much, and there was nothing in there about aliens.
Wow.
But, you know, maybe, I mean, the flip side is a lot of people will be like, well, of course you didn't find him, because it's that compartmentalized that even him, Snowden, you know, a contractor or a hacker wouldn't be able to get to it because it's hidden that well. But at the same time, it's like, well, maybe he's you know, that's the truth. They don't have information about that.
Yeah, they may not. Wow.
But he really also said, he also said that, yes, man really did land on the moon. Climate change is real, and chemtrails are not a thing.
Interesting. Okay. Well, that's
confirms
all the things I was thinking.
But do you trust him? Do you trust Edward Snowden?
Wait, what are the three things he said again? Chemtrails are not real.
Chemtrails are not a thing. Climate change is real.
Yes.
And man really did land on the moon.
Okay.
Which I agree with.
Yeah,
all
I do
those
too.
things. Chemtrails, I'm still, I don't know. I haven't seen enough evidence to say for sure, but
it's an interesting theory.
It's interesting too.
I don't know. I guess I can't speak enough on it without doing full research on it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like maybe we need to do like a full podcast before we completely decide. But from what I have seen, there's not like enough evidence. I haven't seen anything like compelling enough.
Not really. I mean, there's some stuff, but it's just like with any conspiracy, it's like, what are the sources?
Yeah.
Where is it coming from?
Right.
And yeah, you just don't really know.
Mm-hmm.
But he went on to say that, but the idea that we're hiding them, if we are hiding them, I had ridiculous access to the networks of the NSA, the CIA, the military, all these groups. I couldn't find anything. So if it's hidden, and it could be hidden, it's hidden really damn well, even from people who are on the inside.
Wow.
He was like scouring so much information, so much
things.
classified stuff. Honestly, I'm surprised we need to get leaked more stuff.
Yeah.
But then again, I think, I think these agencies are smarter than they lead on. And yeah, he was able to get access to them and look around, but come on, like there's secrets there that they have. Nobody even knows how to access them except for like a couple people. And those people are unknown to us, or the systems are not even in the government systems. Like if the government was smart, they would put all of that top secret classified information that could potentially, because if you think about it, all these government agencies are being hacked all the time.
Yeah.
They're being attacked
all the time.
all day, every day. And we're attacking, and the NSA and all of our intelligence groups are attacking other countries' networks and computer systems, trying to gain spying and gain information from them. So if it was something as crazy as aliens, why would, and they really didn't want the public to know about that, then why would they put that in their government computer systems? They would put it off-site somewhere. There's probably some off-site, unknown, underground data center that has all this information in it that is not even remotely on the same network that, all this other information he gathered from. Because like surveillance programs, aliens, it's like, are they going to be, even in the remotely same server or, section of the network?
Right. I mean, he definitely could have just not seen the files if there are any. I don't know. It's hard to say. It's really interesting to hear that from him.
Because I mean,
like if anyone's going to spill the tea, it's him, right?
He would know, if it was like blatantly there, he would know, and he would have told us that it was there.
That's interesting.
So yeah, I don't know, man. It's very interesting. But yeah, it's definitely a good podcast to listen to if you're looking for something. Yeah,
I got to listen to that.
It's really.
We got a flight. We're about to head out of town tomorrow to work on a project for YouTube.
We are.
Yeah, maybe I'll listen to it on the podcast or on the flight. God, I'm like getting really tired.
A project together too.
Yeah, we are working.
I'm teaming up with Kendall.
Yes.
To work on a very
sneak preview.
Very interesting project for sure.
Yeah, I'm really excited for everyone to see it. Yeah. But we're stressing out because we're leaving on our flight in less than 12 hours.
Yeah.
Shit's going down. It's crazy. It's a big challenge for us, but we're excited.
Very much so.
But we'll still be back with another episode next week because we're only going to be there a few days.
Yes, very true. But yeah, we'll go ahead and wrap it up there. Thanks again for joining us for another episode of the Mile Higher Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to give us a like and thumbs up and subscribe and follow us on Twitter. And
yes, at Mile Higher Pod on Twitter, at Mile Higher Podcast on Instagram.
Yes.
Run by Janelle.
But that's it.
That's it.
See you guys next week. Stay safe.
And stay woke.